Okay, let's go to part 2 of the distinction between transitive and intransitive verbs. It's not easy, it's not intuitive whether a verb is transitive or intransitive. So the best way to determine the category is to use the dictionary. Let's go to Garzanti and let's do a search. Let's start with a verb that you have seen before in the previous video. It's andare. Let's blow it up a bit. Andare, the very first piece of information that you get is that it is a verbo intransitivo, an intransitive verb. We also want to know if this verb has a regular or irregular past participle. So we go down the line, look for the information. This gives us information about the pronunciation. These are the forms of the present. This says imperfect, and there are the dots. So we know that that is not the complete information. We click and we find the entire entry. Again, verbo intransitivo, we follow imperfect, future, subjunctive, present subjunctive, conditional form. They are irregular. If they are reported, it's because they are irregular. Imperfect subjunctive, imperative subjunctive, and then it says other forms with the stem and are regular. And then we find this piece of information: ausiliare, essere. Auxiliary is essere. We know that intransitive verbs require essere for the formation of the passato prossimo. No information about the past participle, nowhere. Therefore, this will have a regular past participle. The verb is andare. I separate the stem and the suffix on the infinitive, and the regular form of the past participle is andato. We know it is intransitive because the dictionary told us. Therefore, the auxiliary verb is essere, and we put in the present form of essere. Io sono andato. Let's do it with a different verb. Let's go to Dizionario Garzanti again. Let's put in diventare. Diventare, we click diventare. Immediately we see that there are little dots. So the first thing we do is look up the entire entry. Definizione. Antico, in ancient Italian, diventare, in Tuscan, doventare, and it tells us vi intra, verbo intransitivo, intransitive verb. We know the auxiliary is essere. Let's look if we find information about the past participle. Is it regular or irregular? Again, if you find nothing, it means it is regular. The information is here. Io divento, which is the present, and aus, auxiliary, essere. That's all it gives you. This is a perfectly regular verb. As you see, it gives you the very first person of the present. Does so. The dictionary does so for every verb, and it gives you the auxiliary, the only information that you need to conjugate properly this verb. Past participle is regular. The auxiliary is essere. The verb is intransitive. So here we have all the information we need. Diventare, diventato, obviously. Again, it is essere, So io sono diventato. Okay, one more example. Let's go to Garzanti. Let's take scendere. Scendere means to go down, to descend. Search. Let's click immediately on the entry in order to get the full explanation, and we'll find out about scendere. Scendere is intransitive. Very good. So we know already that the auxiliary is essere. Let's look for the information that is meaningful to us. Present tense, io scendo. Passato remoto, io scesi, tu scendesti, etc. Participio passato, here it's listed. This is the participio passato. Sceso. As I told you, the little diacritic, the fact that the dictionary shows the stress, the position of the stress, the pronunciation of the vowel, that's irrelevant to us. Those are purely linguistic, phonetic markers. What we are concerned with is the spelling, the naked spelling. So, sceso. Sceso, we know, is the irregular past participle of scendere. It's intransitive because we saw it. The auxiliary is essere, and we will have io sono sceso. Let's go back a second and see if, interestingly enough, it doesn't give us the auxiliary here. It doesn't say the auxiliary. Obviously it's a mistake, or it's incomplete. There is a gap. It should be here. It should report that the auxiliary, because we saw in other entries, the auxiliary is essere. Anyway, we know this because the verb is intransitive. And this is part 2. Now, part 3, I will show you how to conjugate an intransitive verb in the passato prossimo. I will have to make a comparison with a transitive verb to highlight the difference. Stay tuned, and for the time being, we're done.